So I was saying how the recent days has been changed in terms of construction material. How we are continuously trying to find a better material or new material which can be maybe a greener solution for our construction projects. Because otherwise, if we see everywhere, RCC is always the basic material. You let it be a smaller structure or maybe a larger project. So previously, or many of the times, we have tried to use the foreign practices like concrete technology, which came from Europe basically after independence. Before that, we were just dealing with the vernacular materials like stone and wood or bricks. But in past century, half century, uh, the construction belt has been shifted to the RCC and it has been used all over India, whether it is be hills of Himalaya or maybe Rajasthan or anywhere. People prefer RCCs, concrete structures. Of course, it is a bad thing to input a new material in unfamiliar environment, but still. So as we can see now, the building with steel is trying to find its foothold in India today. While it is very common to see a public building with structural steel in US or Europe, we hardly see them here in India, with the exceptions of industries or temporary shelters, I guess. So, despite India being the third largest producer of steel in India, still we are not prioritizing steel in construction. Of course, we use steel in construction process as a in a reinforced concrete. Okay, but the whole world is not. The whole building is not made with the structural steel columns or beams or floor plates, staircase or supports. Sometimes maybe we are using it for aesthetic purposes, but that's all. I mean, nowadays in Bangalore and Mumbai, we have started to design steel structures. So with steel structure, it requires to be finished with infill walls or maybe external cladding, flooring material, paint finish, door windows, etc. After treating them with such methods, it can give us the appearance, insulation, and function that we want. But in concrete structures, generally the material itself acts as an insulator or element which we want. So as a technology, it is much faster than any other existing approaches, the steel structures. The material gives greater safety while making it easy for future maintenance and alteration. Yet, we are not using steel buildings commonly in India. The primary reason is the cost, where all the above advantages come at a price not always worth. I mean, unless we are building in a congested city center or commercial property with high site value, we don't go for it. And in India, generally, if we see, especially in cities like Mumbai, return of investment is the criteria for a building, whether it be a residential or a commercial purpose. So that's why the steel is not majorly used. Also, another point is that it requires greater precision than those built with masonry or concrete frame, and which cannot be guaranteed. I mean, which cannot be guaranteed by contractors. We don't have much more contractors who expertise in steel structures. Also, it requires uninterrupted power supply, ease of transporting long steel sections to sites, larger storage spaces for site material, and such other are related prerequisites for building with steel. So when it comes to a construction material, another point comes to our mind is it sustainable? I mean, is it good or bad, or how it affects the environment? So that always we as an architect try to focus on. So with the they come with some green parameters, but on overall count, steel buildings tend to fall short. So we won't say that it is very much eco-friendly. So yeah, the shortfalls are that it demands a lot of electricity while manufacturing as well as while installing. It produces wastage during its manufacturing, and joining multiple material may not get done well, affected occupying performance. So that all reduces the environmental performance of steel. So yeah, the main part of our study is structural steel. So what is it? The steel, as you know, it is an alloy of iron and carbon percentage with other elements, depending on the composition that we want. So there are different types of steel that are classified as mild steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel, low alloy steel, and high alloy steel. These are basically different types of steel based on its strength and appearance. So the mild steel, medium carbon steel, and low alloy steel we use for steel structures. Structural steel is a category of steel construction material that is produced with a particular cross section or a shape or some specified value of strength or maybe chemical composition which we want based on the geographic location or the use of that element. Structural steel composition, strength, size, and shape are controlled. So structural steel, it can be used for building purposes, which has been standardized by Indian standards ISI. So there are various standards based on the type of steel which we use. So as you can see, standard quality, ordinary quality. I mean, some elements which we just use for a support. Some we use as a structural element which is going to carry load. So based on that, there are these types. Also, welding. When we are welding two steel members, that also how to weld it, how to connect those uh, girders. All of that also has some standards which has to be followed to get a quality which we want. So mild steel is the most commonly used steel for general construction purposes, like railway bridges, transmission line towers, industrial structures, those kind of structures. So why we opt for steel when we are designing? There are some factors which we have to consider when we are designing it. So first of all, lightness. A steel structure are very light compared to the other structures such as concrete or any stone or wood. But stone and wood has a different consideration that they can't go much taller without heavier cross sections. So the material is light. That is the main thing. Then high strength and stiffness per weight ratio. The even the smaller section can be compared with the a bit larger cross section of a concrete, since it is very stiff and they possesses high strength. So that's the thing. Then ease of fabrication and mass production. It is easy to fabricate a steel structure, so it is generally used for mass construction. If you have a frame structure which has multiple bays or multiple modules of same thing, so that similar members can be produced in a larger way and from manufacturer, so it is easy to construct. The steel members can also easily be replaced and assembled or disassembled. So if you want to in future, if you want to increase or further take your project ahead, and if you want to expand it, it is easy to install a new construction and attach it to the existing thing. In steel structure, it's pretty much easy. uh, Fast and easy erection and installation. So, of course, it takes time in manufacturing, but when once it gets on site, it is very easy to execute the work because the members are already pre-designed. The sizes are already decided, so it is easy to install it on site. I mean, it takes much less time than the conventional concrete construction. And also, the steel structure, once erected, can easily be used immediately after its installation. Like in concrete, we have to wait for its curing days, then we have to finish the material. That takes time. So the steel structure can be immediately used after its installation. Also, being steel a ductile material, they does not have a sudden failure. Rather, it gives indication by deflection before failure. Like in concrete, generally its is very less. So after it reaches to its yield point, it immediately breaks. So in steel, that is an advantage, we can say. Also, the wide range of ready-made structural sections are available, such as I section, C section, and there are many different uh, sections. Then connection. The joining method are also an important part. I mean, do we bolt it, do we weld it, or do we use riveting? So those condition also helps us to achieve steel construction. So now we'll see how it is differed from a regular RCC structure. So first, if we see dynamic loads, RCC structures are very brittle and they are very less resistant to dynamic load like earthquake and wind. Since steel structures are ductile in nature, it increases their resistance to dynamic load. Then self-weight or dead load. So if we consider concrete column or concrete frame structure, the volume of concrete is such that it self weight is increases very much, and that also you have to consider and add into the design. And in steel structure, since the smaller sections can carry a higher uh, load, the sections are smaller and the self weight is almost 30 to 40% reduced. Then foundation. If we to carry the huge load of RCC structure, of course, the foundation also has to be larger, considering the size of column at the ground floor and then in foundation. But steel structure does not recommend that much heavy foundation. It just need to reach the end bearing strata, and the size is not that much increased. So then tensile strength. Of course, all we know since the first year that the concrete is uh, less tensile in nature, and steel is very much can sustain higher tensile uh, strain. Then types of labor and requirement. I mean, it is RCC requires more manpower and lesser precision, that we can say. I mean, since many of the times we are designing, we are adding much more load than what it requires. So the sections are all anyways pretty heavier. So many of the contractors in India or the ground workers which are working on it, they are not that much attentive to maintain the quality of concrete or the amount of water or the strength of the that concrete which we get. So it requires more manpower, but less. The quality might be compromised in the RCC structure. But in steel structures, less labor is required because already some of your, all of your members are being manufactured at some fabrication place, and it is then transported to the site, and just the installation workers are required. But installing RCC structure is uh, bit skilled work. So, like the process of connecting all the members, it is not easy to be done by an unskilled labor. So, the process of welding or maybe riveting. So that is the difference. Then construction process, RCC structure, it is very simple. Simple because we have been doing it since many years. So our people have also trained with it. So it is very simple. But if we consider steel structure, it requires lots of attention from the consultant who are designing the steel structure, the sizes of all member sections. So it is a bit tougher to manage the construction in steel. Then cost. RCC structure, it is very economical. The material itself is economical. Also, the labor working for it is cheaper than that of the steel structure. And also, it is readily available and easily. The material, cement, aggregates, and everything can be transported from one place to another. So that's why it is cheaper than steel structures. For steel, the if the unless the project is larger, it is not advisable to go for steel because the transportation and the material itself costs much more. So that factor has to be considered. The speed of rainfall RCC structures require time for concreting, curing, which is a very slow process. But in steel, if the first floor is done, then immediately we can start with the second floor and so on. And it doesn't require time to settle. So that's steel structure can be speedy. So in an urban city like Mumbai, it is that as the time passes and projects is not getting completed, it becomes costlier for a builder or a developer. So it is better to go for a costly material because with time it is going to save money if the project gets completed in time. Scrap value. I mean, after we demolish an RCC structure, it is not generally, it can't be reused. It is generally the RC concrete generally goes for landfill sites or uh, filling up of land. So it doesn't give us the value back. But steel members, they can be recycled. It can be sold after even after removing or demolishing the elements. It can be resold. So some material value we can get it back. When I say recycle, it doesn't mean that they are getting melted again and producing a newer sections. But generally, larger sections are cut or designed into a smaller section and getting reused. Then weather effect. So a properly designed and constructed RCC structure is not prone to the weather effects like rain or chemical effects, which leads it to corrosion. It is very much less affected to environmental conditions because it has pretty thick insulating cover for the members as well as the space itself. So, uh, but if steel is not properly treated after construction, it may get rust. We are using mild steel. So, when exposed to the environmental condition, it might get rusted or corroded and lose its strength. Repair and maintenance. So RCC are very tough to repair. I mean, if we see nowadays, sometimes repair projects in Mumbai of a multi-story building, to handle or maybe to remove an element and then reconstruct it, it is very difficult since the steel is connected through and through with all the other elements in building. So the cost is very high and time which it takes is very uh, large to reconstruct or repair the RCC work. Because if we sometimes we see in old buildings, if the cover, concrete cover has been removed due to weather effects. So again, to remove the steel rods, steel bars within it, it is very difficult to open up the beam. But comparatively, in steel structure, it is easy and fast to just replace a material or maybe repair it. But in RCC, we can work with different shapes. So that is one opponent on RCC. So with the new technologies like ferro cement and all, we can work with whatever the uh, shape or form we want. But mostly in steel structures, we can make use of maybe bays or trusses, which can be used in multiple modules and repetitively. But sometimes we won't be able to achieve the appearance which we want or the design which we want. So that's why we then use some cladding material or infill material to again uh, change the appearance of it. So RCC, again, RCC is suited for water retaining structures, maybe a water tanks or maybe dams or reinforced concrete piles which we drive into the ground. So for that, generally we use RCC. But steel, as we said, since it is mild steel, it can corrode, so we can't use it here. Even for steel construction, the foundation generally is made out of RCC. Uh, one disadvantage of steel is it is very prone to fire. I mean, if it is getting heated, I mean, not the regular environmental heat which we get, but when in fire condition of fire, if it gets heated, it loses its integrity and strength. So it needs fire protecting external insulation. So we generally nowadays spray a chemical on steel members to resist the fire, and also it expands and becomes softer. So that's why, yeah, correct, Naini. So, but now the treatments have been provided. Like if we see in fireproofing, we can apply chemical based on the time which it has to sustain fire. So, like 2 hour fire resistant time, 4 hour fire resistant time. Based on that, there are different processes which we can apply over it. So, yeah, this is pretty. Are you all guys getting it everything right? If anyone has question, do ask. So now we'll go to structural steel members. So what are the members or elements that we work with while designing a structure? So there are two types basically. First is rolled sections. Another one is built up sections. So rolled sections means the element is homogeneous. Like if we consider I section as a beam, so the flange and web both are connected and it has been manufactured that way. It has not been created and then attached with each other. Uh, but those sections, there is a limit to what we get in market. After a particular size, we won't be able to get rolled sections in a larger size. So for that, then we go for built-up sections. So sorry. Here, as you can see in image, the above two images are of rolled sections, and bottom two images in the uh, bottom right corner. If you see, the top flange has been welded with the web, bottom and top flange. So, as per the condition, as per the requirement, it has been later designed and then constructed on site. Then so roll sections, the types of roll sections varies based on its the appearance. So The first one is I section. So there are standards decided for all the sections by I. So first one, if you see these names, you don't have to remember it, just for your understanding, because when you will be uh, why are they called sections? Because generally when we consider a steel, mostly we consider its cross-sectional area most of the time, how much it is going to sustain the load. So that's why even I'm not sure. I'm just I've never thought of it why it is called sections, but that can be it, because it is generally measured on its cross-sectional area. Yeah. Acha, rolled, because rolled section, because the process of making this section is when they roll the steel bars, circular steel bars, they roll it while making it and heat up at a very higher level, and then they shape this. So even if you see the edges of these sections, unless they are cut later on, they are pretty much, uh, if you can say, like in AutoCAD terms, fillet circular. So they are rolled sections because the process of making it uh, is to roll the sections and heat up at a very higher level. That's why it is called rolled sections. It has nothing to do with its shape, the name. Yeah. So the ISJB, if you see, I'm just going to let you understand how the names have been assigned. So ISJB are Indian Standard Joist or Junior Beams. This ISJB, ISLB, ISMB, or WBHB, they are differentiated according to the size and the strength which it is giving. So you must have heard about steel table, which we'll be using it when Bhargav joins, like for numericals and everything. So then you will understand the true purpose of this nomenclature. So in that steel table, all the standards have been given. If I say ISJB 100, the height of web will be 100 and other specification will be according to it. So when we are speaking with the contractor or with an engineer, we should know if he is saying ISMB, then what section he is suggesting, or so on. So light beams, medium weight beams, wide flange beams. This ISWB wide flange beam is also known as H beams, because it looks like H. The flanges are much wider. And ISHB, Indian Standard Heavy Beams, these are very large beams. Generally, they are not available in market, but if the design requires, then they are manufactured. Otherwise, mostly built-up sections are used instead of these heavy beams. Then next thing is rolled steel sections, channel sections. So as you can see, channel sections, they are in the shape of C. Again, the junior channel, light channel, medium weight channel, they're differentiated. Also, if you see the top right image, generally when we are, you must have seen these type of columns on railway stations in Mumbai. So two C sections are braced together or welded together to make a column. We generally don't use a singular circular or square cuboid section, because these two C sections connecting to each other gives us the freedom of designing members according to what strength we require. So the material doesn't get wasted. That's why we use these type of sections. Then, yeah. So roll T section. So in this section, again, the shape, it looks like it's shaped T. That's why it is T. And according to the sizes, normal T bar, wide flange, long leg, light T, junior. This all sections you will get to know in steel table later on. So right now you don't worry about the names. Uh, Then rolled steel angle sections. So these are equal angles. This you must have seen commonly for maybe for shading, temporary shelter, or maybe roof or brackets for grills or some for smaller. I mean, not as a structural element, but the supportive element. This is used widely. So equal angles mean both the sides of if you see both the sides are equal. In unequal, the one length is larger than the other. And the bulb angle, which is actually even I haven't used, or I mean, I have not seen it on site any time, the bulb angle. But yeah, there are these sections available. Then rolled steel bars. So these are solid, round or square, or maybe customized bars. The solid uh, sections which we see, they are not generally used for construction. I mean, as a construction element, but if you see, there are sometimes grill which are circular. So those kind of thing, there we use these sections at a smaller amount, because if we use this in a larger cross section, it will be very heavy, and which is not required to use in construction. Then steel tubes, rolled steel tubes, or steel flats, or steel sheet strips, and steel plates. So tubes, square and circular tubes generally, again, they are just used for these tubes generally are used for tensile structures. They can vary in many sizes. Steel flats, and they are thinner, just a plate of the steel. And so these plates which we get, they can be used for built up sections, to create a built up sections. And again, those sizes are available in market, smaller sizes. Then the next topic is steel construction system. So there are mainly two types: the conventional steel construction, which we generally do in India at a very large scale, and another is PEB, which is pre-engineered building. So the conventional steel construction and reinforced concrete construction in India are going hand in hand. Sometimes, I mean, we um, combine these two systems to create a project for maybe low-rise non-residential buildings, or even sometimes in residential, like the conventional steel sections total or yeah, I have another doubt. Acha, the built-up sections are, as I said, I have got doubts from Sarthak. Difference between built-up and heavy sections. So built-up sections are made with plates, just flat plates, because sometimes we see to construct a uh, flyover or maybe railway bridge which is passing. So we don't get readily available sections for those huge sizes. Like those girder, if you see, they are almost 1 meter by 500 or 1 meter by 400. So no one keeps those sections available in market. So uh, so if we want those, we generally create it on site or at a fabrication place by using plates. Heavy sections, that's why are not used. Generally, we use built-up sections if we are going for a larger uh, span or larger cross-sectional area. Heavy section just means which gets manufactured at manufacturer's place, and then it just get transported. But even to transport those large beams is difficult. That's why we use built-up sections. Huh. So conventional steel construction. So total or partial site fabrication is possible. I mean, that's what they do generally in this conventional system, which results in low cost of manufacture. So according to our requirement of cross section, we can design and customize sections and that we use on site. Also, it is very much suitable for to work in severe service conditions. So where it is not easy to work with, sometimes we see in the fort area, if the building has to be worked with, if we consider larger sections, so there we don't even have the place to store or to manage all the materials. So in those cases, this is better. This can work pretty good. Also, fabrication and erection is done by single agency, resulting compatibility. I mean, the creator and executioner is the same. So that is an advantage, that he is only dealing with the whole thing and we are just consulting with him with a single agency. Then fabrication is simple because on site it is happening as per our requirement, it is happening. Rolled sections are used. Conventional steel construction is not used for a larger project or larger span. So rolled sections which are available in market that we can use, which does not require extensive welding or rectification. Because when we are getting the material, we are inspecting it and getting the right thing on site. Then the quality in construction is getting carried out by the third party inspection or inspection by consultant from us and not by the providing agency. Yeah, also we require to employ skilled manpower for it, like fitters or gas cutters or welders. So for this, they are available to carry out this work on site. These fabricators are available because they are only providing it. So this is what it happens. Then if we see another type, which is PEB, pre-engineered building. These buildings are engineered at factory and then assembled at site. Usually PEBs are steel structures. Concrete structures also can be pre-engineered and I got link from here. I'll check it later. Okay. So generally pre-engineered buildings are of steel. So built-up sections are fabricated at the factory to exact size what is required by a structural engineer, and then they are transported to site and assembled at site with bolted connections or riveted connections. So if we see advantage, they reduce the total consumption cost by at least 40%. In PEB, what we do is we work with the digital softwares and determine the loads which it is going to face way before it is going to execute. So we can crack the exact size which is required and then design it accordingly, which saves cost, of course. And then second thing, lowers cost. So saving is accomplished in design, manufacture, and erection cost. So we are just it is getting constructed at the fabricator's factory and then it is getting transported. So it lowers the cost on site as well. Then in PEB construction, we can get clear large span. By conventional method, first we design and then we consult an engineer how to go around it. But in PEB, it is predetermined how we are going to construct it. So that is an important advantage of PEB. Then flexibility of expansion. So in PEB, generally we are creating similar module and then multiplying it. So if we want to expand something, it is easier to just fix and attach newer members with easy steel connections. Lower maintenance. So PEBs have high quality paint systems for cladding, which gives long durability and low maintenance cost. So again, paint again it requires external insulation, which can be applied later on. And since it is custom made in factory, the quality control is better. So it requires lower maintenance as time passes. But there is one point which is insulation cost. So we are just getting the frame from the this thing, but rest all we have to design. Even let it be facade or let it be internal space or infill material or glass or in whatever whatever it is. But that all we have to then later on add and that also construction cost we have to consider if we are comparing some other structure with this. Then appearance, of course, if we generally see steel sections, they are aesthetically not that much sound. So later we have to treat it with some cladding material. Now the cladding materials are also available. So that's why generally the steel construction was not used for projects. It is just used for the factory or warehouses or commercial projects. And but with PEB and other material, now we are slowly leaning towards this buildings. Just to give you idea, the software generally which I have seen using in India are STAAD and ETAB, on which I'll show you an example. So if you see this screen, they already they design each and every steel members before they are installing it, so they can get a clear understanding the size, the cross section, the strength which it is going to receive, and all the other factors, even the environmental factors, all that you can be determined in these softwares and then work out a correct structure for your building. So this is, I guess, STAAD software. This is the typical example of pre-engineered building where there are similar multiple sections installed to create the larger space. So now if we compare both the systems, conventional steel buildings generally is designed by the consultants. So in pre-engineered building, the when we give our design or our concept to an manufacturer, he designs and gives the best solution for the sections and the frame, how it is going to be. And generally the tendency is always to make the building light with light means the load of it, self load of it, to make it lesser. Then material for conventional steel building are hot rolled sections which have low strength and high ductile. But in pre-engineered buildings, mostly built-up sections are used from hot rolled plates. Flat plates are used, and medium to high strength materials is required. Now, pre-engineered building also it costs. We can't usually use it for a smaller project. I mean, it is not viable to use it for smaller projects. So, for smaller projects, we use conventional steel building system, which requires which needs low strength material. Fabrication. So, in conventional system, the holes and the shapes and everything. The alterations which requires are made on site. So holes to rivet or to bolt are made on site. The gas cutting or shearing, it is done on site, and manual welding is done. So the quality can't be controlled for welding because manpower is involved. But in pre-engineered building, it is auto welded at the factory with the required material and required amount. Holes are punched with the machines, so the precision is very high. In conventional system, to create primary members, it takes less time because primary members we are getting from market which are readily available. But in pre-engineered building, since they are large projects, generally manufacturing of those materials, those primary sections gets the time requires for it is very large. So we have to consider that before starting a project or considering that system. So we also have to account the time required for manufacturing. Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much it for today. It's just the basic idea of why steel is getting used and what are the factors uh, uh, are considered while designing it. But the more technical part we'll be getting on later when even Bhargav joins. This is just the broad understanding of the material steel. So if you have any questions, you can ask right now. So any doubts? Hello.
No, no doubts.
Okay. So I guess this is done, I guess. So okay. So next time I'll be trying to go for some examples if I can find, and we'll discuss that. I mean the steel structure. So I'll just take the attendance just a sec. I'm having a technical issue to get the attendance just a second. Yeah.
I have a doubt. What is MMA welding?
MMA is a type of manual uh, welding. The person on site each works like a manual metal arc welding. The device which he uses, that is manual metal arc welding. So that's why MMA welding. Okay, guys. So I've taken attendance. So if you don't have any more doubts, so we can uh, turn it off and meet you all guys next Saturday. Okay.
Neeraj, there are
Yeah.
questions in the chat box. Like,
Okay, I can see this. Yeah, okay. So Bidisha says, even now, most high rises in India that we see are made of RCC and not steel structures. Is there any reason behind it? Yeah. So first thing is generally most high-rise buildings right now are I mean commercial and residential. And if residential building we talk about, the type of work which we do in our homes, I mean, in foreign, you must have seen if they have applied infill material or those gypsum boards applied on the as a walls, which doesn't provide that much strength. And the weather effect which we get here, like rain or the wind which we get here, so that's why the the insulating material which we require is brick is much better. So that's why generally we go for this RCC structure. Also, I attended a seminar about 2 years ago that it was from Sterling Consultancy. That is an engineering. That is an engineering firm. So they engineers and contractor, they were trying to make a structure with steel, but as they went higher, somehow they wound up designing a combination of RCC and steel, which was costing much lesser than the typical RCC or steel building. So they created a hybrid structure. So, Bidisha, the cost is the most important aspect why we are not going for steel structure. So, yeah, the cost. And Nachiketa is asking where we can get STAAD Pro. STAAD Pro, generally we don't, even I haven't used it ever. I've just seen people work on it because it is a bit complex unless you understand all the structural all the technical information. It is difficult to understand, but yeah, I guess even Rajitha was telling to introduce people with this software, so we'll see if we can get our hand on it and at least show you how it works and what results it gives us. Yeah. Gas cutting typically with the okay, just a sec. Shearing means just the cutting of material with high flame. And gas cutting, you have to look up. So yeah, it is a cutting process with heat. The thing which we use generally with the yeah. Sorry, I'm not able to clear your doubt about gas cutting and shearing. I'll get back to you on it properly. For now, yeah. So, yeah. So, any other doubts? Okay, so let's meet you guys on next Saturday. Should we leave?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.